We knew that the last event that we had on Opportunity Zones was going to be heavily attended. It was. We had almost 100 people here. The room over there simply won't handle that volume of people. This date was already taken in the building, so we decided to keep it here. You're going to get also some information today that'll come out on email about an Opportunity Zone workshop that we're doing next week that will be here with the same group that did the actual presentation last month at Aspire. We're going to send out an agenda today. As you can see, the regs are out in that space and in that area. We thought it would be interesting to explode that discussion because there was so much in the way of questions and comments and stuff. Just a quick commercial about the firm too. You know, we've been around almost, this next year will be 30 years. And so it's, you know, I was 10 years old when I started the firm. So, you know, it doesn't seem that long to me. You know, my wife always laughs and tells people that we're a 30-year overnight success. She says there were all the overnights that he worked, all the overnights he traveled, all the overnights, but it's been a lot of fun. We've enjoyed it. I would never have dreamed that we would be doing investment banking on the CPA firm and a wealth management group and be able to have the client base that we have. If we can help anyone you know, or if you're working with a company that needs some kind of help, we will certainly, we don't have to have it all. We're more than glad to just give advice on a piece or be a part of a team. You know, we'd certainly like to have a lot of people's business across the board, but we'll do whatever we can do to try and help solve problems. And I think that's really our strength. We solve problems. You know, where people find those issues, we're there to do that. And so we're delighted to try and help, whether it's finance, money, capital, tax issues, financial reporting, bank covenants, whatever that may be. That's the world we operate in every day. So please let us help if we can. Couple of other things. Before I introduce our speaker, I want to introduce you guys to John Seibert. John is the president and COO of City Square. I want to give him a few minutes to talk about them and the wonderful things they're doing in our community. I have a real special spot because I know the founder really well and have for years, and we were looking for somebody to fill this spot. And as most of you know too, it's our belief that it's a way, just like when we try and help people find jobs and help people find capital, and whatever it is we're trying to do, it's the same with this. We want you to know about some of the things that we know about the community, that if you have an interest, sparks, touches your heart, your pocketbook, whatever, we want you to hear about this. John, delighted to have you.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Really appreciate this opportunity to be with you this morning. My name is John Seibert. I'm president of City Square. We fight the causes and effects of poverty through service, advocacy, and friendship. That service takes the form of over 22 different programs, and so we kind of put those into buckets that we call the 4 H's: health, hunger, housing, and hope. So you have a little brochure that gives you just an overview, and at the bottom right where you can't really read it, it says www.citysquare.org. That's our website if you want to learn more about our work. I also put a little pamphlet advertising our big annual fundraiser, A Night to Remember. We usually have some wonderful talent. This year we have Steve Martin and Martin Short. And so that will be September 21st at the Winspear Opera House. City Square is kind of like Chapman Hex. We're about solutions in the fight against poverty. And so we've been doing this for 31 years. And we're looking for what works. We're social entrepreneurs that want to find solutions that we can take to scale in the fight against poverty. Our secret sauce is that we fight poverty through friendship. And so we don't believe that there are rich people and poor people. We think that's a myth that traps us into inequality. We think everybody's rich and everybody's poor, just in different ways. So the way we discovered this was a long time ago. Our CEO, Larry James, was helping a Latina grandma in our food pantry, helped her, paid a light bill, got her some groceries. She went to shop. There were 2 young Latina moms behind her in line. They couldn't speak English. Larry couldn't speak Spanish. They were kind of in an impasse. The grandma that he just helped was walking back through, and Larry said, "Man, could you help me for a moment? Could you translate, please?" Well, she did more than that. She sat down in Larry's chair and she conducted the entire interview for the 2 women behind her and got them what they needed. And then had the sense to say, "You know, sir, I can come back tomorrow if you need me to." And that was Josefina Ortiz, who came back tomorrow for the next 9 years. And when we then discovered, how about if every time somebody comes to our pantry, we ask, "Can you help us?" That was the rocket fuel that launched us into this multifaceted poverty-fighting machine that we are. Because the experts on poverty are the poor. People closest to the problem have the best solutions. And so they've taught us how to win this battle and how to fight this fight. And so we went from a dozen well-meaning volunteers driving down from the Park Cities to 300 people from the neighborhood running our food pantry. And then that's what's launched our work. We have a thrift store, we have a medical clinic, we have a law firm. We're the largest provider of housing among nonprofits in Dallas. In addition to 750 units of apartments that we place people in, we have a real estate company that's developed over 1,000 units. So we're looking at opportunity zones. We've got some land that's in an OZ, and so we're looking at an opportunity fund for our real estate company. So if you want to invest in our work, that's one potential place. Whatever the people you represent care about, we probably do it and probably do it well. So if you want good ROI in fighting the social problems that will cap all of our prosperity, City Square is a great partner. Social entrepreneurs that can work with you on that kind of return. One of the examples of that is we built 50 tiny homes, cottages, to tackle the problem of the highest utilizers of county services among the chronically homeless. So Parkland and Dallas County Jail had a list of 250 frequent flyers. These people on average cost the county alone $40,000 a year per person to be homeless. We're paying 40 grand for them to sleep on the stoop of your business. We can house them for $15,000 a year with supportive services on site. We call that the smart way to do the right thing. So one of the faces of that is a woman that Parkland called us about and said, could you come down and try to recruit her into one of your cottages? They were seeing her on average 40 times a month. Now, I know basic math, there's not 40 days in a month. Yes, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day they would see her. Why? Because it doesn't rain in the emergency room. It's safe in the emergency room. I can get a blanket, I can get food, I can get water to drink. This is a safe place where I can be taken care of. We went down, met this woman, convinced her to come and live in one of our cottages. The next year, Parkland saw her 3 times in total. From 40 times a month to 3 times in a year. You do the math. That's huge savings to the county. So last December, of the 50 residents at our cottages, 0 calls to an ambulance, 0 calls to the cops, 0 jail stays, 0 emergency room visits. They're housed, they're getting stable, their issues are being dealt with in a supportive community with supportive services. It's the smart way to do the right thing. That's what City Square is about. We're social entrepreneurs, we're fighting poverty on all fronts, and we think we can be a great partner with you if you're looking to join us in the fight. Thanks for your time.
Please chat with him if there's something you think you can do there to help. Now I get to introduce our speaker. Judge is a hard-hitting entrepreneur with a very successful track record of growing companies and selling them for hundreds of millions of dollars. Simon Martin and I worked very closely with he and his partner a couple of years ago as they sold Square One and watched what they had built and go through that process. He currently hosts a top-rated Scale and Exit podcast and is also an acclaimed author. He's the go-to authority on helping businesses identify and capitalize on opportunities to improve revenue and corner markets through integration of cutting-edge positioning, culture, technology, marketing, and sales. Today, he's going to talk about scale your revenue, culture, and business value. We're delighted to have you.
Boom, what an intro. Thank you. All right. Now, I don't have tech working, though. Can somebody help me with the tech? I'm a horrible dancer and a really bad comedian. So, great nonprofit, John. Very cool. Cool stuff. So, excited to be here.
Worst IT guy of all time.
Yeah, it was working earlier. So, I don't...
I'll punch buttons.
Let's see. The blue light was on. Let's see. Is that coming back?
I think it just went to sleep probably.
Okay. Do you know how to unsleep it? Wake it up?
So that, is that on?
No, but it was.
Is it a remote from
Is it right here?
I don't know.
That's probably the screen. Display connected, mirror displays?
No, that'd be bad.
No?
No,
Okay.
yeah, we just want the blue light to come on.
The blue light.
I know, I'm gonna go 30 more seconds, I'm just gonna roll without it. But it was working.
Okay, this is probably Mike, right?
I'm not sure. So cool. While they're figuring out the tech, I have my book in everybody's seats. Everybody saw it? So that's my first book. It's called Scale with Speed. And SPEED is an acronym. So SPEED is actually start with your end game, pick your niche, energize your culture, execute with speed, and dominate your top priorities. So it's a really cool framework that I've used to help grow and sell my companies. And then I've actually taken that into my book. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And
There's someone coming, just roll with it, buddy.
okay, all right. It was such a cool slide, the impact. So
I can hold your laptop.
No, it's all good.
See it?
Okay, here she is.
Oh.
Now the build-up's not going to be as good.
So Judge, it's all in the book though?
Yeah, just read the book. You're good. There's executive chapters. We'll go through there.
Yeah, she just had a remote, basically, she pressed it.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it on?
Now it's going to turn on. Yeah, it's in the book, most of it. A few tweaks for today. So, but it's mostly. There we go. All right.
Full screen it, and we're good to go.
Boom. Okay. Where is my money? I want you guys to say that. Where is my money? Sounds good, right? Where is my money? So we're going to talk about this is a mindset. So today's presentation is all about how do you create a growth culture? And when you think about the concept, where is my money, right? Is the employee, where is their money, right? Money creates freedom. How many people in here have service-based businesses? Okay, the majority, right? What are you providing for your clients? You're either protecting, growing, or acquiring more revenue, right? So where is the client's money, right? And then for the business to be successful, where is the business's money? So this is going to be a thematic that if we instill in a culture for people to be thinking about how do I earn more? If I earn more and I do really well for my clients who earn more, I make more. If my clients make more, the company makes more, and it feeds back and forth. Does that make sense? So where is my money? And that concept is going to be applied into 4 components that make up a growth culture, which we're going to get into. And a growth culture will help you acquire, grow, retain more talent and customers, right? This is the most important thing for organizations right now. If you are a for-profit business, you better be acquiring, growing, and retaining top talent that will help you do the same for customers. So how important is culture? Well, according to Forbes, it's everything, right? 10, 15 years ago, culture wasn't as important, but with millennials and the new generation, culture is key. You want to grow, you want to freaking be a big, real company, you have to have people and you have to have a great culture. But shockingly, this is from the Gallup, 87% of employees are unhappy and not motivated. Think about that. 87%. It's a real stat. 63% of employees are not engaged. Okay, so what does that mean? When you have employees that are not engaged in your organization that you're paying, you've got freaking zombies walking around, right? You've got dead people that are unhappy, not focused, not producing, not engaged, right? And worse, they're freaking toxic, right? When people become toxic and they become cancerous, that's when you really have to watch out, right? And these things become toxic to team members, prospects, and customers, right? So I'm going to give a quick story. I'm a huge truck guy. Every time a new body style comes out on the truck, I get a truck. Anybody in here love trucks? I'm like the only person. Okay, that's fine. It's Texas. I was hoping more. When I do this in Florida, it's different. Texas, I get a lot of hands. So So recently, when I say I'm a truck guy, it's got to be diesel, it's lifted, big wheels, I mean the whole thing, right? Now, the problem living in Texas and having the types of trucks that I like is the baseball size hail. So my big truck, my mini monster truck has to fit in my garage. So I've measured my garage. I know exactly what size my garage is. So I found 2 trucks online, and I call the first dealership, and they patch me through to a salesperson. I give the VIN number, say I'm really interested in this truck. I said, but the deal breaker for me is going to be, is it going to fit in my garage? Now, I know my measurement. Can you go out, measure it really quick, call me back? Takes my name. He says, Mr. Graham, can't do that. You can look online. The measurement should be there. And I go, well, I'm looking here. It's not there. He goes, the best thing to do is to come in and measure it in person. Okay? Now, mind you, this is a $75,000 truck, right? And I may buy, like, if anybody that knows me, I'm a buyer. I'm ready to buy all the time. I buy. And I'm thinking, okay. And so I hang up. Okay, can you imagine? This just happened. Like, I'm ready to buy it. I call the next guy, get on the phone, same conversation over again. I say, here's the measurement. And he goes, before I could even say anything, he said, Judge, would you like me to go out and measure it for you? I said, oh my God, that'd be great. That's exactly why I called. Okay. He said, I'll call you right back. 5 minutes later, right? So he took it urgency, went out and measured it. He came back and he told me the measurement. And I said, you know what? I think we're right there. It's not gonna, man, unfortunately, it's not gonna fit. I think I need an inch shorter. And he goes, you know what, Mr. Graham? He goes, are you home right now? I said, yeah. And he said, I'm gonna come drive it over there just to see. Is that okay with you? I said, no, yeah, no problem. I said, I've got an event in 4 hours, but feel free. Comes over, 40 minutes away, pulls in, helps me rearrange my garage, pulls the truck in and it fits. I love the truck. And then I said, man, will you look at my trade, what you get for me? And I said, you know what, can we do this on Monday? I know you're closed on Sunday. I'm going to this event. He said, Mr. Graham, I'm going to do it right now. He said, I'm going to get your bid. You can go take a shower. I'm going to go take the truck. I'm going to detail it. And if you don't like the number, it's fine. And I'm going to bring the paperwork back to you and give you an hour before we have to leave. Long story short, I bought the truck. Okay? Toxic people are costing you massive revenue every day. Now, what was the difference in that story? My guy that sold me the truck was happy. He was engaged. He was motivated. He was, where is my money? Right? The other guy was checked out. He didn't care. He was probably looking on Monster or wherever you look for a job these days. I don't know. And he was non-interested, right? And cost that company reputation and money. I'll never call them again, right? This other guy's bought me for life. I'll probably be a customer simply because of the convenience. So what do the numbers say? Why do we care? This is an alarming number. Employees who are happy and have a high level of engagement have a 19% in net income increase. 19%. Right? And this is a Gallup poll, right? So again, I don't know the base, but let's just say it's a decent sized base. 19%, if any of you guys are running a business, is a pretty big, pretty meaningful number. But the more meaningful number is when they're zombies, it's a 33% decrease. Okay? When it's the guy that wouldn't sell me the truck that I was ready to buy because he was checked out and he was a zombie. Right? How much is this costing your organization or your clients' organizations? So where does culture start to go wrong? This is a Inc. source. 90%, this is shocking, right? Because most everybody in this room, this is block and tackle stuff. But 90% of companies fail at consistent communication, resource allocation, holding teams accountable, and effective measurement. Right? I mean, how many people, duh, right? We should do that, right? But for whatever reason, we don't. And to me, that's just a good company. Okay? A good company does what I just showed you, right? They have good leadership, communication, accountability. To me, that's where it should start, but shockingly, it doesn't. That's the 90%. Listen, if you want to freaking grow a monster company, a great company, a company that crushes it, that you're dominating your competition, a company like Google, Chick-fil-A, Salesforce, Aflac, Starbucks, one that is consistently profitable and growing, acquiring, growing and retaining more talent and customers, you have to have a growth culture. And that's what today's conversation and topic is about, is how do you build a growth culture within your organization? So what is a growth culture? It's an empowered and aligned, okay, empowered and aligned organization that is committed to the success of its customers, team members, and financial targets. Okay, I want to be really clear on one word here, financial targets. Companies don't want to talk about money anymore. They talk about it in the shareholder calls. They talk about it with the executive teams, but they're not transparent in aligning from the freaking CEO to the intern of here are the goals. Here's what we need to do as an organization, and we need to be proud of it. Come on. Another glitch. Unbelievable. So it's the next slide is where's my money? The concept of where's my money, right? Getting back to how important the concept is of where is my money in that financial target, right? So with that, sorry guys, there we go. Okay, so the four components we're going to start with, the first one is market leader positioning, okay? Niche will get you rich. Have you guys ever heard of this? Everybody knows what a niche is, right? Okay, so in my book, I talk about, I'm a huge believer of niches. Okay, and the reason I'm a believer in niches is simply because, here's an example. Brain surgeon on average makes $700,000. A general practitioner on average makes $300,000. What's the difference? Right? One is diversified. It's dealing anywhere from, a cough to a common cold. One is very specific. It's a very specific trade. Right? If you get brain cancer, you're going to want to find the best brain surgeon. Right? The staff that works for that brain surgeon is highly skilled in this one trade. The operating room, the equipment, everything, right? There's super value in niche. So what are some of those values in a niche? Well, the tighter you get your positioning, the more simplified your processes are. I promise you, if you're a bigger business right now and you're doing a multitude of things, you have a lot of processes, right? And those processes have evolved over the years, and some of them probably aren't even relevant anymore. And they're slowing you down, they're costing your money. So it simplifies processes. You get to now have market leader content. If you're doing one thing really, really well, guess what? You're going to have more case studies. You're going to have more results. You're going to be able to be the market leader and write a white paper about it. You're going to have more press about it. You see what I'm getting at? The tighter you are, the more opportunity you have to evangelize your brand. You can acquire top talent. Listen, if you're a marketing agency and you want the best SEO hire, right? Good luck if you do billboards, TV, and you do SEO, and you do PR, and all this other shit, right? But if you are the best SEO firm, guess where the best SEO team member wants to work? At that best SEO firm. So by being tighter and more niche, you're going to get better talent. You're going to have better delivery. Right? If you're doing one thing really, really well, you're going to be able to deliver it better. You're going to have more proof, better results, higher enterprise value. Right? I've sold a couple companies. Looks like the people in this room that I've talked to have done the same. If you understand the word enterprise value, this gets you more. The tighter you are, the more niche you are, the more value you have upon an exit. Right? And there's more profit. Right? You typically can run leaner. Your margins get better. It's just, the concept here going inch wide and a mile deep at what you do. right? And that simply is by repositioning who you are and becoming market leader. So here's an example of a niche. So this is one of my clients, they're a private jet company. So Verity Jet is my client on the left, and it's hard to read here, and one of their competitors on the right. So we'll start with the one on the right. When you land on their homepage, and this is just an example, they just show a jet, and then they have a list of just multiple services, from delivery to brokerage to factory to cleaning to renting pilots. Like, it's just multitude of things, right? But if you're in the market and you have the money and you want to buy a mid-size jet, and you come here and it says Verity Jet Group is the authority in light to mid-size aircraft transaction, buy your jet or sell your jet, right? It's just simple. But these guys do the same thing. But they've taken a stand. They said, you know what? We're going to own mid and light size aircrafts, and we're going to be the authority at that. Now listen, if somebody wants to buy a G5, they're going to sell it, right? But they are positioning themselves as the market leader. They are positioning themselves to win, right? This is a big part of growth culture. And more importantly, they are clearly communicating, and I talked about this all the time. How do you have market leader positioning unless you know who you are, what you do, what proof you have, and why clients love you? I bet right now you couldn't articulate this well to me now in your company. And if I walked into and talked to 10 different employees, I would get 10 different answers. And this is simple stuff, right? Hone in tight who you are, what you do, what proof you have, and why clients love it. Tight, tight, tight. Very niche, market specific. Does that make sense? Okay? And then once you understand who you are, what you do, what proof you have, and why clients love you, this is a great exercise. I do this with clients all the time because it's a big self-reflection, right? It's like your own SWOT analysis. Then you have to now build these market leader content assets. Okay, back to where is my money? We're in the business to generate and get more clients, grow them, retain them, right? So you have to evangelize more customer results, reviews, testimonials, case studies, interviews within that niche, that market leader positioning. You need to build credibility assets. Do you have awards? How many years have you been in business? What's the number of staff? What number of projects have you completed? Number of locations, press, thought leadership. Are you in Forrester? Are you in Gartner? Have you written white papers? Why should I buy from you? Why are you the market leader? Why are you the authority? Do you have intellectual property? Is it faster, cheaper? Do you have a service or a process or a piece of tech that is better than the competitors? Is it a culture thing, which we're talking about today? Are your people better because they're swimming in the Kool-Aid, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, and they're providing more value, like the guy that sold my truck? Video, 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 video. I don't know if you guys recognize video is pretty important, right? I brought my own video guy because guess what? I'm going to cut this into 50 pieces of content, and I'm going to put it out there on video. We are living in an age, by 2020, 87% of the content that will be viewed online is video. If you don't have a video game, you're in trouble. Then how do you take this content and position it? Here's an example. My client, boom, they wrote a book on how or it's like a white paper, take the guesswork out of buying a jet. They've got multiple client testimonials. They did an amazing video that's emotional and talks about mid to light size jets. They have facts that back up why you should work with them. And then they put 4 core values, which we'll talk about here in a minute, that are all customer facing that differentiate them. Okay? So now if someone is in the market to buy a $5 million jet and they do a Google search and they come across the other company or Verity, who has positioned themselves as the authority in mid to light size aircrafts in the $5 million range, and have provided all of this market leader positioning and content, the odds of them getting that account skyrocket. Okay? And this is a key component of a growth culture. This is conditioning your organization to think, behave, and act like a market leader. It's working again. So 2, you have to create a tribe through core values. Okay? Now, core values to me are super important. I get so frustrated when I walk in someone's office and I just see freaking words on the wall. You know what I'm talking about. They have like the eagle, it's the old school shit. It's like, it's awful, right? And nobody does anything with them. Right? They say, we've got a great culture. We've got core values. But nobody's living them. Okay? You want freaking culture? You want a growth culture? You've got to live them. Baby, I want you swimming in the Kool-Aid. I want people drinking it and swimming in it. Core values to me are 4 words. If it's a sentence, it fails. If it's 5, it fails. You need 4 words. So they can be memorized, they can be lived, and they embody an organization's mindset, beliefs, and daily behaviors. Okay? These things have to empower your people. So whatever these words are, one of my old companies, Fearless, was one of my core values. Okay? What does fearless mean? How am I letting my team members be fearless? Right, what does that mean to them? How are you empowering them to be fearless? So in my case, they could go fail. Listen, for us to be the best, to get the clients, I want you guys to be risky. I want you to take chances. I want you to make decisions. I want you to fail forward because we will innovate that way. Well, guess what? Now they feel empowered to go do that. Okay? But then, just as important, those core values have to be internal but external. What do they mean to the client? Right? Getting back to the guy that sold my truck, I could say one of his core values was customer first. Right? That could be a core value. Whatever the customer wants, we're going to do. Right? That's a benefit for me as the truck buyer. He's telling me, listen, the reason you want to go with Autoplex, Mr. Graham, versus Grapevine Ford is because we do this, and this, and one of our core values is customer first. We're going to bring the truck, we're going to measure the truck, we're going to take it back, we're going to pick it up, we're going to wash it, we're going to do all these things. You see, but he's using a core value as a selling point. So these core values have to be lived. You have to empower your people internally to actually use them, to call you out on them, to call everybody out on them, to live them, and then you have to make the core values translate to the customer. So another one of my clients, this is an example, theirs are integrity, innovation, speed, and strategy. Okay, so what does that mean to the customer? Speed. We live and breathe this core value. An acute sense of urgency is essential in rapidly changing the IT landscape. Our tools and technology help us react more quickly than our competition to fill your staffing needs. And then they have like a mantra, they do it 24 hours faster job placements than anybody else. Well, guess what? They're using a core value to the customer. That's a benefit, right? Innovation. All of our recruiters have completed rigorous technical boot camps and have been certified in specific niche technologies. Our innovation lab is dedicated to the improvement of training and specializing recruiting teams. We invest in tools to give our recruiters an edge. So they built out an innovation lab to bring in talent, to certify them, to make them better to be recruited. And they're using that as a core value. That is a huge selling tool, right? So these core values become selling tools and differentiators. Listen, if you're trying to compete on price, service, and speed, you're going to lose. Right? What are you doing to differentiate? This is a differentiator. This is growth culture. So then how do you take that and live it? Right? How do you translate that into an environment? How do you get the eagle off the wall? Right? So in this example, we brought those core values of life in the environment. We vinyled one of the conference rooms and put the word speed on there and brought a real Ducati motorcycle in there. We vinyled a wall that looks like the Matrix that says innovation. We built out one of the conference room to an innovation lab with bean bags and screens and TVs. We redid the conference room. We put up what's called the Deadly Seven with the Grim Reaper of the 7 things that they won't do as an organization. And then we totally transformed the office, okay? Now, it does 2 things. One, it's a visual daily reminder that we have to live these core values. So when I'm bringing someone into my office and recruiting them, my environment tells a story of who we are as an organization and what I expect and what I'm going to empower you to do if you work here. The other thing it does is when I bring a prospect in, it's the same tour, but it's now client facing of how my core values are going to help grow their business. Right? This is powerful stuff if it's done correctly. Make sense? This is just an example of one of my old offices. So I talked about Fearless. So I literally went and bought from the Universal Studios set a 14-foot Incredible Hulk. So when you walked into my Dallas location, you were greeted by Hulk with a big ass sign that said Fearless, and then what Fearless meant to the customer. Okay? I had my core values on walls. We converted a conference room to a basketball court. Strategy was one of my core values, so I had a 9-foot G.I. Joe guy. I vinyled the wall. I had bombs hanging from the ceiling, right? I had octopi hanging from the ceiling, and I talked about how our customer and account people were like octopi, and they got in and they secured every piece of the account. My environment told a story to help sell my product and service and to retain top talent and to ultimately create a growth culture. Okay, so that's all about core values in your environment. 3, become customer-centric. Okay, Jimmy, who sold me my truck, got the joke. Billy, not so much. Right? It costs 5 times as much to attract a new customer than keep an existing one. Let that sink. 5 times. I don't know about you guys, but when I pitched, it was big accounts. We'd spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go get a pitch. Okay? Staff up, do all these things. When we lost, that hurt. 5 times. Existing customers are 50% more likely to try new products and spend 31% more than a new customer. Right? Let that sink in. It's important to be customer-centric. If you got a bunch of zombies answering the phone, this isn't happening. Chick-fil-A, this was a fascinating thing. The secret to Chick-fil-A's success is please and thank you. Why is Chick-fil-A kicking every fast food's ass? 1, their niche. We talked about that. Market leader positioning. They own chicken. If you're going to get chicken, where are you going to get it? Not McDonald's, probably Chick-fil-A, right? And analysts have said that their customer service is key to Chick-fil-A's success of generating greater revenue than KFC, Pizza Hut, Domino's. Okay, so Chick-fil-A gets the joke. Their niche, market leader positioning, they've created a culture, whether you like it or not. They're not open on Sunday. They live their core values, right? They say please and thank you. They're customer-centric, and they're kicking ass in revenue. Chick-fil-A gets the joke. A satisfied customer is the best business strategy of all. Okay, there's probably 60, 70 people in this audience. I've already told you about Jimmy at Autoplex. That's a commercial. I'm going to use Jimmy again, right? So Jimmy, I'm going to turn from a $75,000 customer probably into a $400,000 customer in the course of 5 or 6 years, right? Why? Because he was customer-centric. So what are the things you can do to become customer-centric? I beat this into organizations, literally. Treat their time and money like it was your own. I'd get people in my organization that would put a proposal together. I go, what the hell is this? I go, would you spend $15,000 on this? Well, no, Judge. Well, then why would our customer fix it, make it right, get in that mindset, over-communicate? You're losing way too many accounts because you're scared to pick up the damn phone. Over-communicate. Clients I would rather you, a customer or a client say, listen, I got it. Like, don't call me anymore, right? Let's over-communicate. Become a customer, right? Go through the process. When's the last time you actually became a customer of what you did? What's the process feel like? Is it painful? Do you have customer service? Have you tried to return something? Go become a customer, right? Make your team members use your product and service. Okay, I just bought my wife an Escalade, and I walked in the dealership and I asked the guy, well, what do you drive? He says, I drive a Toyota. I said, I want to talk to a different sales rep. Why am I going to buy it from him? I want to be sold on an Escalade. I want you to drive. Like, if you're going to work for me, you're going to use my product and service, period. That's a growth culture. That's a difference. You want to be a good company, you want to be a great company. Your people need to use the product and service. Build trust and relationships. If you're constantly selling, you're going to lose. Right? I had account people that wouldn't talk to a client for months at a time, and then when they call them, they're in their pocket. Well, guess what? A week later, I would get an email or a phone call and we lost that account. Right? Invest in your customers and clients. Build relationships. Don't always try to upsell. Invest in training. Get your folks trained in customer-centric. Create listening and feedback loops. Right? If you're not constantly measuring the success, the stability of your current accounts, you're susceptible to lose them. Right? Whether that's surveys, it's social, look what the competitors are saying. I mean, just listen to what the customer's talking about. And then create urgency, and it's in all caps because we don't create enough urgency. Jimmy created urgency. Jimmy, I can't see you till Monday. I'm going to drive over there right now. Create urgency. Right? We create these bloated, inflated processes in organization, and we forget about speed and urgency. Right? Steve, man, I know you want that. We got a process, Steve. Takes 6 weeks. Okay, well, I'm not going to work with you, right? Create urgency, reduce processes, be customer centric. Think about it if it was whatever you were buying. Okay, the last section here. 4, alignment, motivation, action, and accountability. Simple stuff. This is kind of that 90% that we talked about. But companies, for whatever reason, fail at this. Now, I have a framework, and you don't need to use my framework, but you need to create a framework in your organization that clearly aligns, if you're going to get niche, right, tighter in your positioning, become market leader, your core values as an organization, your who you are, what you do, why you do it, what proof you have, and why clients want it. Right? And your team, everybody should know this. Okay? If I walk in, if I decide to start another company or my previous companies, there was no confusion. What do you guys do here? Shit, Judge printed it out. It's on my desk. It's everywhere. Right? This, I promise you right now, people would fumble. They would say, we do CPA stuff. We do this. Like, what do you do? Is it tight? Right? Is it unique? What are the goals? Are you sharing them with them? I don't care if you want to share a number or not, but we want to grow 30% this year in growth. We want to do 25% in profit. There's nothing wrong with sharing that. Why are you here? Where's my money? Right? What are you tracking against the goal annually? And then how do you break that down into quarterly goals assigned to the other executives of leaders that own that roll up to this, that then you meet on daily, that they roll down to where literally from the intern to the CEO, there is alignment in daily activities that roll up to what you need to achieve quarterly that's tracked and measurable, that roll up to annually, and then as you're off base, you adjust. How frequently do you guys meet with your leadership team? I would suggest daily. People say micromanagement, I say profit. Right? When you get a system down and you get a rhythm and you get alignment, here's who we are, here's what we do, here I'm empowering you, here's what we do for the customer, here's our goal, here's what I expect, here's the cadence. We're aligned. That becomes magical. It is a different feel of an organization. Now you got to motivate them. right? Could be money, could be time off. As you hit these targets, how are you motivating the team to build that growth culture? Is it vacations? Is it, how do they celebrate in the success? Greg and team here have worked with several of my companies. We had a rock solid culture, right? When we sold, a lot of people got paid, right? Because I knew I had to motivate to hit the bigger goals and take care of people, right? And I come in and actually build out motivation blueprints. Action, 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 action. This means shit if you don't execute. Okay? Make goals that are lofty but realistic. Get this quarterly stuff to a tactical level, and then massive action every day. Where is my money? Right? Is key. How are you measuring it? What actions are you taking daily? Right? How many of you guys have said, hey, you get together, we need to go build a marketing plan. Little Susie, you own that. Great. When are you going to have it, Susie? 2 weeks. 2 weeks goes by. You come back, Susie, where it is? Oh, I got caught up in this client. This happened, this, and nothing happens. Does that sound familiar? Okay, because you're not taking action. You don't have a framework that people are aligned in, that they're motivated on, that you're taking action on daily. Okay? And then accountability. This is all day, every day. Must conquer daily. And the reason there's skeletons on here, this is called a one-page attack and conquer plan, the OPACP, right? Must conquer daily. This is all day, every day. These are a multitude of different frameworks, from 911 meetings to money sheets to all these different things I've come up with. But this is the accountability piece, right? So when I walk into organizations, I create this, and this is all you need. You just got to execute it. Track it, do it, use these frameworks, do it daily, measure it, optimize it, and operate from this. Right? Simple, 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 fast, fast, fast. Accountable. Right? So you can create your own version of this. But again, back to that growth culture, once you get that market leader positioning, get tighter, get niche, right? Then translate that into your belief system, your core values, your environment. What does it mean? How are you empowering your people? How are you empowering them to make mistakes and to grow and to build the company? What does it mean to the customer, right? And then how does that then translate into being able to do this, right? And those elements combined create that growth culture. So great people want to work for great companies. It's that simple, right? And culture now, this is becoming more and more prevalent. The niche is becoming more focused. More companies are becoming niche, and great people want to work for those great companies that they feel more aligned with. And then bottom line, great customers want to work with great people. Back to Autoplex and Jimmy. I'm going to be a great customer, and I'm going to work there. I'm going to buy from him. So fix that 80% that's happening right now, because it is. I know it happened in my companies until I started fixing it, until I started taking action in culture, in a growth culture. That's it. Thanks.
Any questions, Judge?
Have you been to Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, yeah.
They don't say thank you.
Based on the
pleasure.
okay, they must have-
Yeah.
the study lied then. I don't know.
Hey, I got a question for you, Judge.
Yes.
So on the specific to millennials, we've read a lot about that, and we're preparing for that, mostly to be the staff base that most companies are going to have. Is it so much what your culture is, or that they're just bought into a culture? Because a lot of what we've read is that they're more motivated to be a part of something as opposed to motivated by money.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I would say just in general, I wouldn't look at it. I know you have to look at it in a millennial lens, but you need to look at it from the overall, this is our culture. People want belonging. People want purpose, right? But now I would caution, if you're a for-profit, it's okay. Like if you're motivated by money and organization, that needs to be a part of the DNA. And there are millennials that are motivated by that. But if they're not, then they may not be the great best fit for the organization, right? But they're motivated by other things you can incentivize them to do, right? But you should be true to who the leadership is and the DNA of how you want that company to be. And then that's going to be the best jump off point. If you try to, put a square peg in a round hole, it typically fails. Yes, sir.
It seems like the secret sauce is empowerment of the staff.
Yeah.
As a manager or an owner, how do you define what limit of empowerment? Should there be a limit, or is everyone Daniel Craig as 007
Yeah.
in the organization?
It's you have to put bumpers on it, but it's loose. I mean, it constantly evolves. I mean, you have to get tight with, when I say fearless, you can make decisions up to this amount on capital expenses. You can do things like this. When an account is this valued at this, you're able to do this. But you don't want to make it just, too arduous, but I mean, you want to put parameters on it. And then as you grow and evolve, it'll change. Listen, great cultures are organic. They're constantly growing and changing, and that's just part of it. But I think it's committing. Most people don't want to commit because they're too scared, right? They start going, well, this is going to happen. This is going to be too tough. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So I would just encourage you to do it.
Have you sold out of all of your companies, and if so, what are you doing now?
I have. I still have stock in one of them, but I'm completely out. So right now, I'm writing my third book right now. I do speaking, I do consulting, and I help companies implement this.
One more question?
Somebody had one.
Another hand,
I was just gonna make a comment on Simon's comment regarding millennials. We do a lot of research in the generational space, and one thing that we found is that it's not necessarily, one thing that increases engagement is immediate feedback, because and I'm being an elderly millennial, I guess you could call me, on the very cusp of 81. We're so used to being coached. We're always in an after-school program being coached. So having immediate feedback is extremely beneficial, and it's not necessarily micromanaging. And we make the comment previously on empowerment and engagement. There's actually a number of studies that show that highly engaged and then empowered organizations or employees in those organizations are 13% more profitable. It's just across the board that way.
Totally.
The higher the engagement. So one way to look at that is just feedback and direction.
Yeah, totally. I mean, part of that, if it's daily communication and you're aligned, here's who we are, what we do, here are the goals, here's how we're talking about it daily. I found millennials, they want to feel coached, right? We're a part of the team and I'm running this play. So many people don't know what play they're running in the organization, and they don't have that purpose or alignment, and therefore it fails.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Judge is going to stick around for just a few minutes and be here to answer questions and talk some more. So feel free to pick his brain a little bit more. Again, want to remind you, turn in your CP evaluation forms, speaker evaluation forms, you're selecting stuff for us. We appreciate your feedback. And then just again, a reminder, we're going to be having a special Aspire event next Thursday, May 16th, and it's going to call it the Opportunity Zone Workshop. We felt like this was such a hot topic. New regs are out, information's out there, deals are being formed. There'll be an agenda going out today on the email that'll kind of walk through all that. It will be here, 3-4 hour type workshop. So if you're really interested in learning about Opportunity Zones, I think it'll be a pleasure if you do a deep dive, and we'll get that out to you. Thank you again for coming. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you next week.